Hey, buddy, how are you doing?
Not too bad. Enjoying my day off today.
Nice. I enjoyed a lot of sleep, and I am not actually serious. My body decided to wake me up at 2:30 this morning.
Ooh, and you couldn't go back to sleep?
Nope, so guess what I ended up watching at 3?
Boba.
Because it dropped at 3, so I was like, all right.
Okay. All right.
So it was good. It was good to be able to watch it, and then I was able to actually fall asleep pretty quickly after.
Well, I mean, I guess that's good.
Yeah, so I got roughly like 4 hours of sleep.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Could have been better, but it seems to be happening a lot. Every other episode that releases, I just can't sleep, and I don't think it's subconscious excitement. I really don't, because I didn't do it for like the episode 5 and 6, which, in my personal opinion, were up there.
See, it's not excitement. You're so worried about it being crappy that you just can't go to sleep.
That there's a lot of potential for that. Okay, so the Book of Boba Fett finale aired today
Yep.
on Disney Plus.
Yep.
Episode 7. Instead of being 8 episodes like seasons 1 and 2 of Mando have been. Initial thoughts before getting into details. Just what is your initial reaction?
I was very impressed and disappointed all at the same time.
I have to say I had a very similar reaction to watching it. The way I described it so far was it was good, could have been worse, could
Could
have
have
been
been
better.
better. Yeah, absolutely.
Um, Now, before getting to other details, the after credit scene, it revealed Cobb Vanth in the Bacta tank. Now, I see you rolling your eyes. So what was your initial reaction to that?
Him being in the back of the tank was fine, but now he's a mod. Like, is this the new thing?
I mean, it's
Everyone's a
probably just a
mod.
modded arm, right? Because he only got shot in the shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, but still, like, this is the thing now. Everybody's a mod.
So my initial reaction was, "Oh, cool!" And then after I saw that, I was happy that he was alive. But realizing that that is what the after credit scene, what like that's what they chose to be,
Yep.
and deemed to be so important that that was the after credit scene.
I thought they were gonna do something with Mando for sure.
Yeah,
Set up
right.
season 3 a little bit.
So my initial, or not my initial, but my post mortem, if you will, like whole reaction to the series now that it has come to a close. I actually have a lot of changes of opinion in what I have said in our first episode of our talking back and forth.
Okay.
Yeah, like complete 180s of opinion on some things.
Really? All
Yeah,
right. Well,
and I
can't
could
wait to
get
hear them.
into that, but I could get into that as we go. So, how about this? You want to start off with we can just kind of go with the whole structure beginning to end of the episode, and as we're progressing through it, give our thoughts and opinions on it.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so here, how about you start? You could start with the beginning of the episode. The beginning we opened in what is left of what was her name? Garza Flip.
I don't know her name. It was
Garza
the
Flip, the Twi'lek.
sanctuary.
Yeah, it was her sanctuary. We open in the ruins of that.
Yeah. So the whole bombing thing, it given the whole pace of the episode, that when it happened, like when it blew up, like really, like you're just gonna blow it up.
Mm-hmm.
So, but after thinking about it, I didn't have like a huge issue with it. It was more of a momentary, that felt kind of strange thing. But what I didn't like about the whole structure thing was, no, we have to wait here. I got very similar vibes of when Mando was hiding, waiting for Moff Gideon, and he had that just army out in front, and he's kind of like peeking out of the window. It felt very similar to me, and it didn't feel original.
So now, would you say that that was a bad thing that happened, like when they did it in Mando?
No, like I had no issues with it. I mean,
Okay.
if you look at it in that episode of Mando, there were a lot of
Yeah, they
stormtroopers,
were actually dug
and
in.
they had those big heavy cannons, so
Hmm.
they were stuck. Whereas in this one, they were just like, no, we're gonna wait here because of those stupid mods again.
Yeah, and the pikes that weren't even there yet.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I have to agree on that. I thought that was a rather like from a tactical standpoint, I thought that was stupid.
yeah, I did
That
too.
made no sense. Like I get the whole mighty time. Okay, hold on. Before I can even get into that, I just think her whole dialogue and the way she performs it is stupid for her character. If she was actually a Renaissance time, like maybe a Jedi. She talks the way a Jedi or a noble would talk. Instead, she's this cyberpunk character who talks like, "Oh, mighty daimyo." Like, yes, she's kind of trying to provoke and antagonize him, kind of being a little bit of a B word, like intentionally. But it just didn't really fit. So
No, it
with
didn't
with
at all.
that being said, hold on, gotta really backtrack to where my original thought was. Oh yeah, when she's just like, "Oh, you're gonna go into your palace and hide in, oh mighty daimyo. Well, we're gonna be stupid and go here." And then Bo was just like, "All right, I'll join you. I'll be stupid here too."
Yeah, I didn't understand that. I mean, I figured he would have stayed to begin with because,
Hmm.
he's Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And why bring the fight to your palace when you probably have better things to do in the streets? Because if they all get into the
Hmm.
palace, it's it, it's gonna get destroyed.
Yeah, they could just bomb the palace and that was it. I
Exactly.
mean, I was really curious as to, okay, why not bomb it again? like
Right?
like the sanctuary, why not just bomb it? And then you're done with him. Instead, you're allowing them to potentially gain a tactical advantage on you by I I like I don't know, it's a ruins of a sanctuary, so there wasn't really any like tactical advantage in just staying there, but maybe if it has secret
Well,
passageways.
I mean, it seemed like it was Boba's only prominent business in his
True.
area. So if you take that out, maybe you kind of force him to say, okay, you guys can do your business
Hmm.
because now he has nothing.
Now, this is a minor thing, and you could say, "Oh, it got Disneyfied." Uh, I kind of was like, okay, so you can see the ruins of the place, but there's no dead bodies.
I thought of that too. I looked for that. I think that's just Disney being Disney.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if you would agree with me on that, or if maybe I'm just kind of being too harsh of a critic on that.
No, because I noticed it a couple times too
Hmm.
later on in the episode, and if I remember when we get to those points, I'll bring
Yes.
them up because there were two specific points that I can think of where I was like, yeah, this is straight Disney just making it Disney.
Mm. So there was one point when they are showing, I believe they were just panning from Mando to Boba, or maybe it was Boba to Mando, and then you see the tentacles of the Twi'lek, but before it was revealed that it was the Major Domo, because he is a very similar color Twi'lek to Garsa Fwip, if I'm saying that right. At first, I was like, "Oh wait, did she survive?" Like,
There's
because
no
that wouldn't
way.
make sense. And then I was like,
There's
"Oh
no
wait,
way.
is that her dead body just kind of like leaning against like something?"
I
But
wish it was his. I can't stand him.
so, not to get too off topic, but I did find this out later, just through perusing the interwebs, that apparently like uh the actor that plays the Major Domo and the actress that plays what's the droid lady helps Mando? I never remember her name.
Oh well, her name is Pelimoto. The
Pel-
actress is Amy Sedaris.
yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Yeah, Pelimoto. Apparently the two of them like are in plays and other features together. So
Oh,
when later on in the episode they kind of hint at a potential romance, that's just kind of like a little nod, like, huh? They're used to working together, so it's like, eh.
oh, okay.
So I was like,
That's a
oh,
nice
okay,
touch.
so that's a nice little touch.
Yeah.
Um, I honestly thought he was so gonna get gunned down because moving on from that scene,
Yeah, I did too.
uh, the very next thing is Boba decides to pretend to surrender after Cad gives him the little
Well, I mean,
option.
oh, okay. You're talking about that, not with the pikes and tablet. Okay. I mean, I didn't think the major domo was gonna get gunned down, and I
Mhm.
wasn't worried about Boba because of his armor.
Oh yeah,
But I
the
definitely
literal
thought you were
plot
gonna
armor.
see a standoff.
Oh, between
And
Boba and Cad.
yeah, and even with Fennec and Mando, I thought you were gonna see some gunshots go off.
Yeah, I definitely got the vibe that when especially when Fennec kept going, "Don't let your emotions get the best of you." I was kind of like, it would be very in brand of character from what we know of Boba, even before the show, to just be like, "Yeah, you're right, but he's really pissing me off, so I'm gonna just start shooting now."
Okay, and not to get off topic, but maybe it's just me being overly critical. I felt like I was listening to like Rose and Finn. Don't let your emotions get the best of you.
Uh,
Do it on your terms.
I didn't get that vibe, but I did kind of the the constant nagging of her in his ear. Now again, that's not the intention of the character or probably even of the writers when doing her dialogue, but I definitely felt that she started to sound a little more nagging than helpful.
I felt like I was listening to my mom.
Right? Yeah.
Like that's what
Yeah,
it
she's
that's
the
what it felt
motherly
like.
figure.
And but he doesn't need a motherly figure. He's Boba Fett. And you see how awesome she is at the very end of the episode. Like,
Mhm.
where was that? That's what they needed to show throughout the entire series,
Yeah.
not in 30 seconds.
Exactly. Do you have anything more to say on that scene before we get to the next one? Like, we can just kind of jumble together them talking in the sanctuary to them talking in the streets to Cad Bane to getting up to the whole tablet right before
Yeah,
Boba and Mando.
my I guess my only thing is it makes me appreciate Cad Bane. He's so awesome.
Yeah,
And
I liked their little back and forth they had.
yeah, I did too. Um, and while we're on that subject, because we were talking about it the other day, um, he's 71. Because
Yes.
we were trying to do the math on how old he
Yeah,
was.
I actually
and,
saw that today in a post.
Yeah,
Star Wars General, I think,
Yeah.
posted it.
I may have sent it to you.
Oh, okay.
So, and I'm only bringing it up because we were talking about it, trying
Yes.
to figure out, and we were way off.
Yeah,
we
what were we saying?
like in his 50s?
Oh, that's not too. Only
Maybe
20
early
years.
60s, but I mean that's still a decade off.
Yeah.
And that's being generous. So yeah, we were just a little off, a little bit. But no, that's it. Just love for Cad Bane.
Yeah. Any scene that he was in, honestly, it was just badass. Just the way he talks
Yep.
and his whole
he's
demeanor.
a cool dude. He's one cool dude.
And he knows, like, that he's the best. He's like, listen, I already know how this is gonna go down. You can pretend like you know, but I know how this is gonna go down.
exactly.
I'm gonna come out on top every time.
I mean, it's a treat
Mhm.
to watch him finally in
Yeah,
live action.
and he's not kind of like an asshole when he, is saying like I'm the best. He doesn't come across that way. He's just like he doesn't have the Han Solo swagger where he's kind of like cocky.
I think what it is, he's calm.
Yes.
Like, he approaches things like he doesn't. I don't think he ever runs.
You
when
know,
you see him, he walks.
that's
He's
an
calm.
extremely fair point. The only time I think we ever see him run is in the Clone Wars, and that's when he's fighting Jedi, so he has to run.
Yeah, no, I'm strictly talking about
the
as
live
soon
action.
as he's introduced in Boba. Like,
Yeah,
he just
that's
he
so
walks.
true. Yeah, he walks to the town and then walks away.
The only time you see him doing something other than walk is when he rolls.
Oh yeah. Yep. At their final standoff there.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's it. He has that cool demeanor because he
Mhm.
knows that he's the best. He knows he's gonna come out on top. He knows he's gonna win.
Yep.
So why bother wasting all this energy when you can just I'm gonna win, so I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna come out on top. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna take my time.
Yeah. Oh my god. The whole portrayal. It's just very accurate to how they've shown him before. So you as a fan and viewer don't kind of have any feeling of betrayal in how they portrayed him. I think they did a great job.
Yeah, no, I think I don't know who portrayed him. I never bothered to look.
I forget his name, but he is actually the voice actor of like I don't know if it's actually every character, but they say pretty much every voice that you hear in Disneyland, like for all the rides and things. Apparently, that's him.
Wait, really?
Yeah, apparently he does like everything.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently he's just such a talented voice actor that he can do everything.
Yeah, I thought he did a phenomenal job. I was sold that that's Cad Bane.
Yeah, and he voiced him in the Clone Wars, so it was the same actor.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that definitely helps then
Oh
too.
yeah, and
Keeping the same people,
I
kind of like
do.
they did with Bo-Katan.
Yes, and I appreciate the fact too that they kind of de-cartooned him a little bit because I mean obviously it's live action versus Clone Wars, so yeah he looks a little different than what you would expect.
I figured they would have like obviously you can't keep the same appearance, but I figured they
Mhm.
would have maybe done a little bit deeper shade of blue.
Yeah, but maybe the palers either could be A because he's on a brighter planet, like a drier planet, so maybe his skin gets drier, and also he's older.
Yeah, I mean that could be it too, but I figured they would keep it that way. I wasn't disappointed, and I'm not gonna send a letter to Disney saying how terrible they are because he's light blue.
Yes. Um, okay, so moving on, the next following the prelude to the action. So right before.
Oh, spoiler alert for anyone who
Oh,
hasn't seen it yet.
yes.
Don't listen.
I'll put that in the title.
Yeah, good idea.
So right before the action starts, the major domo he does have quite a bit of funny dialogue where he's like, not to sound like an ass, but
Well,
I studied on Coruscant.
Yeah, I was about to say he went to Coruscant.
I was like, okay,
Ooh.
that's a nice line. I appreciate that. Excuse me. Tying in that he's actually educated. Like that's a
Yeah.
little detail. I liked that.
I wasn't sure how believable that was, but yeah.
It really does make sense of how he was portraying himself with his hand gestures and always complimenting, like even when he's insulted, like someone made a racial comment about they called him like a tailhead. That's probably Star Wars racism. And he's
Yeah,
even
that
like,
definitely is.
oh, that never gets old. Thank you. And I'm just like, you're he's not like
I wish I had his attitude for a lot of things.
yeah,
Like,
he doesn't
like
really
when you
come
get
across
insulted.
as sniveling.
No, he just it seems like he just doesn't care. He's like I'm better than you, so no matter what you say to me, I'm still better than you because I went to Coruscant.
Yeah, he's a kiss ass, but he's not sniveling either.
No, definitely not.
So he comes up with the solution after Mando and Boba come to the conclusion that they're gonna go out in a firefight.
Can we? Maybe it was just me, but like when Mando just pulls out his pistol and he says, "This is the way," knowing he's gonna die, like that got me. I was
Oh,
hyped.
it yeah, dude, that got me when Boba and Mando actually had that little like nod and were like, "You believe in that bantha fodder?" And he's like, "Yes." And then Boba goes,
Good.
"Good." I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, I actually, for a brief moment before I remembered that this is Mando and Boba we're talking about, for a brief moment, I was thinking we were about to watch the "I'm a gonna die" scene in Clone Wars, where
Oh.
your heroes, you just are gonna root for them to survive as long as they can before they die. For a brief moment, just because of that exchange, I was believing that they were gonna die. Like, just it was just so believable because they didn't act like, which is props to the actors. They didn't act
only
like they were
maybe
gonna
thought
live.
that Boba was gonna die because obviously there's a Mando season 3,
Yes.
so I knew he wasn't going to.
Yes, absolutely.
Which I think helped not sell a couple of things that happened later on in the episode. But like I never sat there going, "Oh no, he's in trouble." I sat there going, "Well, what's he gonna do to get out of it?"
Yeah.
Because there's that whole season, a third season of Mando.
Yeah, that's coming.
So he's okay. I thought if anything, maybe Boba was the
Yes.
one that was gonna get into some trouble.
Which
But given how some of the episodes went, I thought if they killed him off, then there were gonna be riots in the streets.
yes, and not the streets of Tatooine in
No.
on Earth.
Any place that has anything to do with Disney was gonna get burned to the ground.
Yeah, maybe the Lucas Ranch might have
That
had
may
some
have been
issues.
the only safe place, the Skywalker Ranch.
Oh, Thank you. I knew that didn't sound right when I said it. I was like, wait, Skywalker Ranch. Yeah.
I got you.
All right. So then, after they were like, okay, we're gonna die, the major domo has this line, and then he's like, all right, I can go out there and negotiate. Which I automatically was like, he's gonna get gunned down, and this is gonna be great.
I for sure thought that that's how Boba was like, all right, I'm sick of you, so I'm gonna send you out to die.
Yeah.
And I was so ready for it.
So at first, when he was like, "Sure, give me the tablet, and then you can bring it out," I was like, Brother, another, here we go. He's gonna read the negotiations, and the Pike's gonna be like, "Nah, you've gotta die or surrender. You don't have any terms." But then they pulled that twist of, "I offer you nothing.
Yeah.
We're gonna fight to the death here." And I even love the Major Domo. He doesn't even bother to read it before going out there. He's just like, "I, Boba Fett, offer nothing." And then you see the fear. His cockiness went away.
I knew I didn't think it was going to be that straightforward.
Hmm.
So as he starts reading it, and then he goes, "Well, maybe you would like to discuss your terms first."
Ooh.
Oh, Bull was pulling something.
Yeah.
I really liked that. I thought that Boba kind of just giving in wasn't in character.
It really wasn't, and it would go along with a lot of other people's arguments of saying that he's become soft, whereas you and I agree. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I get the feeling that you and I agree that it's not that he's gotten soft, it's just that he's matured, he's older, he's seeing a bigger picture.
See, so I'll get to that in the end because there was a line that he said at the end of the episode that really bothered me
Gotcha.
because of the whole
I think I know which
the
one.
whole storyline of the season. And I think that he's just not soft. He's in a different position.
Yes, absolutely.
He's worrying
Like,
about
that's why I'm saying
different
his
things.
perspective is a lot
Yeah,
bigger.
yeah. So he's in a different position, and you know
Hmm.
what? Maybe it could be that he's older and he's softer, and I mean that happens to everyone.
I mean, he even says that to Cad, because Cad's like, "You've gotten soft in your old age. What's your angle?" And then Boba's like, "We all get softer when we get older."
Yeah. So
And Cad's like, "Not
maybe
me."
maybe that plays a part in it,
Yeah,
but I think he's worrying about different things other than
yeah.
just being Boba.
The other thing is, like, remember the whole point of showing his interactions with the Tuscans is that he's gotten a family, which they did that on purpose. They show that his father would go away on jobs, and he'd be like, "Dad, come back," and then his dad's dead when he's so young. He had no family. He finally got it, and then he lost that family. So now that he's like the daimyo, he doesn't want to lose this. So that's why he's like, "I'm going to defend this city to the death. I've got to prove that I actually do give a crap."
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a good point. I thought watching all those scenes with the Tuscans,
Hmm.
and I'm very disappointed we didn't get to see more of the warrior.
Yes, I agree.
Not to get off topic, but I thought that showing him with the Tuscans, it showed a lot of growth with him. I
Yes.
think that matured him
Hmm.
from just being I'm too old for this bounty hunting crap to maybe I can do something else. And you kind of see that as it goes on. Like, I'm gonna do something else so I don't get myself killed in
Yep.
a rancor pit or something.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to work for Skug Holes.
No. So I didn't even think about the family aspect of it.
Mhm.
I just saw it as just like a way for him to mature and
Yeah,
a way for
it all connects.
Filoni and Favreau and I guess Robert Rodriguez to show it because he directed almost half the episodes.
Yep.
So that's my take.
Hmm.
But I think we skipped over a large or an important bit is Cad antagonizing Boba by
Oh,
telling him about what the Pikes did.
oh,
And
that's
not that
right.
biker
Yes,
gang,
we
'cause
did
you
skip
see
over
him
that. That's crucial.
You see him wipe out that biker gang, who we now realize is very innocent. And
Well, innocent about the Tuscans.
well, yeah, and that's what I'm referring to specifically. But you kind of see him like he's ready to go. He's ready to pull the trigger,
Mm.
especially now,
Yep.
and that plays a large part into the whole episode.
I thought it was interesting that Kat actually did bring that up because in this in one of the scenes prior, actually it might have been the opening or second opening scene when Cad's discussing with the leader of the Pikes that was there. The Pike referred. He was like, "Oh, that book's closed. He is fine. He thinks he's gotten his closure because we tricked him into thinking it was that Nikto gang." And then Cad just completely reopens the wound.
hmm So what I liked about that was it felt like Cad was doing the "this is fair for you to know" and it's kind of like an even battleground.
Yeah.
So he's also antagonizing Boba and inciting Boba to try to get him to fight because Cad knows he can take him.
Yep.
Cad is 100% confident that if they were to have a standoff, just those two, that he would win. And you see that because he's trying to get Boba to do that.
Yes.
And you don't try to get someone to fight if you don't believe you can take them.
Mm-hmm.
But I also thought it was I don't want to say a mutual respect bounty hunter to bounty hunter, but hey, you should know the people you're fighting, they also took out all of your Tusken buddies.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a very nice twist for Cad to tell them.
Yeah. Yeah, and now that you bring that up, it makes me remember that Cad was kind of a mentor figure to Boba when he was younger, after the passing of Jango, and when they eventually meet up and work together. So it's making me wonder if maybe Cad feels a bit betrayed since Boba kind of like left, went off and did his own thing, and maybe that's like the point of that line where he says he's a cold-blooded killer who worked for the Empire. So maybe he feels betrayed in that.
Yeah, maybe that's another very good point.
Because he did have a couple of lines, I can't remember them specifically, where he does mention that, like, without direct outright saying that he was like a father to him, he kind of like hinted at it.
Yeah, I know Fennec. When they show Fennec first tagging along with Boba, Fennec says, "You never escape this business."
Yes.
So I mean, maybe that was Cad's way of trying to say you never escape this business. No matter like how many times I've worked with you, you're my enemy now, and I'm gonna fight you. Maybe to me, maybe that's what he's trying to get at.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know they like to tie things together in different
Yes.
ways. That's one that I will give Disney that, specifically Filoni and Favreau and stuff. They do a very good job of tying things together.
Yeah.
So
we might be giving like the credit and blame to Disney when it might not necessarily actually be there, or like, you know, because it is still the LucasArts team that's working on all of this.
Yeah.
But obviously Disney's got their thumb on it.
So the next scene, or we're gonna skip ahead because all hell breaks loose everywhere.
Yeah, Boba and Mando.
Boba and Mando
jetpacking.
That was really awesome to watch. I
That
thought
was
that
one
was
of the
really
scenes
cool.
that hits.
Yeah, it was one of the highlights of the episode. I have a personal favorite that I thought was just silly at the same time. So when we get to that, I'll bring that up.
Okay, so that's not in this scene.
No, it's part of all this mass chaos because this is most of the episode. It's just them fighting every which way. What I didn't like about all of this fighting, before we get into details about all the different areas that were being fought, was Chrysanthemums just being overtaken by not Ewoks, the Trandoshans, and then just out of nowhere he just appears.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I'm looking at my notes and I've got a part on that too.
That just I remember I'm sitting on the couch and I'm going, wait, what? I understand he's a Wookiee and he doesn't like Trandoshans and he's already angry and tough.
Yep.
But he just there were 8 of them that were laying on top of him, and he was down for the count. And what? Just because he's on Boba's team, now he's back again?
Yeah, exactly. It's like just because you have to have those the Magnificent Seven. People.
I thought he was dead, and I know he's super cool from the comics or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the only thing he's from.
I don't really know him that well, but even I was like, really? That's how you're gonna kill him off?
Yeah.
For real? And I started really yelling at Robert Rodriguez sitting on my couch. It didn't feel right. It looked stupid. Seeing him come back still looked stupid because he came back in a bad way.
Yeah. So I actually on that I wrote down that when it comes to the action scenes as a whole throughout the whole episode, beginning with the Mando and Boba teaming up, what was executed correctly there was suspense there.
Mm-hmm.
They were outnumbered and they were taking hits, but they were also doing more than their share of demolishing the enemy.
Yeah, they were, and you finally got to see Boba do what Boba does.
Yes, oh my god.
I thought that was cool. The little knee rocket that he has.
Yeah, I
and
like how instead of kneeling on one of them, he just like kind of does a swan thing or a crane kick. He like
it's
lifts it up.
awesome. It's awesome.
Mid-air shoots. I was like, ah,
So that's what I wanted to see more of.
yes,
I understand why they didn't, and I'm still sticking to that opinion that what you saw from him through the first 6 episodes, because there's only 7, right?
correct. Yeah, this
So
is the 7th.
what you saw through the first 6 is unfortunately what you should have seen. I just wish we saw more of what we saw in episode 7.
Yes.
And the opportunities that they had to show that, they totally whiffed on. Excuse me. So I thought that it was very nice to actually see him in action.
Yes.
And the fact that it was with Mando and they were flying around and they were taking out
They were
people left and
using
right.
everything. The whistling birds, everything.
I thought Mando still stole the show. His dialogue,
yeah.
his cool demeanor.
It feels like they put more care with him.
He's also the bigger ticket right now. That makes more sense. You know that he has a future because he has a 3rd season. There's not a confirmed 2nd season of Boba yet, which is I'm gonna rant about that later.
Yeah.
So I thought Mando stole the show overall for the episode, but I thought in this scene of them flying around fighting whistling birds, rockets, pistols, guns galore, I thought it was great. What killed me was hearing the little tink, tink, tink every time they got shot.
Really? That got you?
That cracked me up.
Oh, okay.
Just like listening to them go tink, 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 and then they like fall to the ground. It's like, ah.
Yeah, I was noticing they were falling a lot more than they have in the past.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, like, are these more like high velocity rounds that they're getting hit
I
with?
mean, I figured because they're wearing Beskar, it really shouldn't matter.
No, because it's light armor. I mean, yeah, they're getting hit with the force of a laser, but like they've gotten shot in the past. Like Mando in season 2, he runs at an entire group of them holding grenades and like then just eventually drops. But he's getting shot with like hundreds of rounds.
Mm-hmm. So I like that cracked me up. I didn't think it was like bad. I just thought it was funny. I think the whole point of watching them keep going down or continuously going down was to show just the massive amount of pikes that were there.
Yeah.
So like they kept getting hit, and that kept forcing them to go down. It wasn't like these lasers are strong. It was there's a lot of them, so they're gonna get hit a lot. So eventually they're gonna go down.
That does make sense.
That's
I didn't
how
think
I
about it that way.
portrayed it. Whether or not that's true is irrelevant. But that whole scene, I thought it was great. Even those parts, I really liked it. What I didn't like about all this fighting was the mods. Surprisingly.
Well, very surprising.
I thought, what's her face? I'll call her Skinny Pale Girl. Her water pistol.
Oh my god!
Like for real. You're in
they
a gang
did kind
and you
of
have a
joke
water
about
pistol.
that when the even the farmers, they kind of look at it, they're like, really?
Yeah,
This is the
I
real
really
thing?
like that dialogue.
You city folk.
I didn't like the whole mod scene, especially because people come in and save the day,
Yeah.
and not once with Freetown, but twice with the mods, which I thought was stupid because
Yes.
that guy that I don't know, the black guy, I don't know his name.
The iMod, we can call
Yeah,
him that.
iMod.
We'll call her Arm Mod and him iMod.
So iMod, I thought his motorcycle getting blown up, like that should have killed him.
Oh yeah, I was kind of like, oh please flip over and break your neck.
So, but instead he just gets up like it's nothing. It's
yeah.
like,
Well, doesn't she help him get up?
well, yeah, but I mean, when you crash your bike, if someone's near you, they usually help you, but then you kind of just walk it off.
Well, remember, he's got a stompy leg.
Ooh.
I did rewatch the 3rd episode last night. I rewatched the first 3.
I am so sorry you put yourself through that 3rd one again.
Yeah, I did it, and it's not as bad as I remembered. I also even tried to like it, so that might have helped. I like went in with going like, all right, I want to like this, change my mind, and I do that a lot with stuff, not to trick myself. Even though I think I just said that, it's not really to trick myself. It's to try to see if I can actually find redeeming qualities, which I didn't really.
Yeah.
I just kind of was like, all right, now that I've seen more, I can not dislike it as much.
So, continuing on, one of the greatest scenes, in my opinion, of the entire episode was when Boba leaves after
Oh yeah.
they fight everyone off, and then those two droids come in, and Boba tells Mando, "All right, hold them off. I'll be right back."
Yep.
Now, I mean, I think anyone that kind of has any sort of insight knows what he's about to go do.
Yes. Instantly, everyone should have known.
Yeah. So I got really excited for that, but at the same time, I was like, well, maybe he has something else up his sleeve. Because I know they like to pull the gotcha.
Yeah.
So I got myself excited for that. And then watching Mando just kind of run around with these two droids playing tag.
Well, yeah, like, but honestly trying with everything he's got, like, to get it.
It like, I thought it was a really good
Mhm.
scene. You can see he's trying, but at the same time, I'm watching, he's playing tag. This is
I didn't
all
even
it
get
is.
that impression
He's
at all.
playing tag. He's trying to get them to tag him, and they just want to go. They want to go kill everyone else that just showed up. And by the way, those droids have such bad aim.
Right.
Oh my god.
So that actually
they
brings...
are giant stormtroopers.
Yeah, so that actually really brings me to a really big point that I had. So before I say that, fun fact about those droids: do you recognize them?
I did, but I couldn't put my finger on why.
So in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, it's a mobile game where you can collect all iconic characters, or minus Hondo.
Don't get me started on that. I could go for hours on that alone.
For both dark and light side
you
characters.
You have Coruscant Underworld Police, but you don't have Hondo.
Yeah, he's more of a prominent character. So in that game, when you go for, I believe it's, you only see them when you're going for Darth Revan, you go against those those droids. They are it's not Scorpion, but it's like Scorp and then
Scorpatech or...
Yeah, something like that. But that's what they're from. They're from the Old Republic. You might also recognize them if you go against them in the Old Republic games themselves. But that's where they came from. And I instantly recognized it. I was like, wait, that's an Old Republic droid.
If they're from the Old Republic, how the hell did they get into Tatooine?
Well, it makes sense that the Pikes would have them. Like, other people might say no, but I say yes because from what I recall from the Pikes, they have been around literally forever. So they would get their hands on that and try to use it very sparingly.
In storage.
Now, it was a little weird for them to just, like, all of a sudden now use them on Tatooine, but we also don't know if they've used them on other operations. Right.
Well, I mean, and they're not going to show that because it's focused on them trying to get their business in Tatooine and Boba interfering, so that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that if they could have, like, if they just used that at the beginning, they would have won.
Yes, so that again, this is like the third time I've said it, but that brings me to a huge point I've got. All right, so the action was great, starting with Mando and Boba, but to go along, I've been wanting to say this since you brought up the tinks on the armor. So it's as soon as that happens that it becomes too shooty without suspense. So what did you have right away? You had that suspense with them with good action, but then it was a bunch of tinks when you cut to the mods and the Freetown. I almost said Free Folk. Maybe that is what they're called. The folks from Freetown. I'll combine it all. Like it's all shooting. So like it's just shooting.
It's all shooting and almost no dying from anyone.
Yes. Yeah, so the droids are shooting at the ground. After, like, they don't aim ahead of your target. Have they never heard of that?
Or shoot above them, so it kind of goes down.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, it was, and so it was a bunch of shooty, no suspense, really. Who cares if the mods die? No one cares. The Freetown people, I mean, maybe the weak way, maybe him, but even then, I'm not going to cry or actually be sad. And then...
It would be more of a honorable and noble death than the stupid mods.
Exactly, but then they're hiding behind a mud wall, and they're just getting shot up. Like,
and the mud wall just stays there.
It stays there. I'm like, okay, maybe this is why Darth Vader hated sand because it's indestructible. Like, what would happen if the Death Star tried to target Tatooine? Does this mean Tatooine would be fine?
No, only the Great Dragon.
So it was that, and then to touch upon the whole Chrysanthemum Trandoshan thing,
I was like,
so you see him fight the Trandoshans, but you just show him get tackled football style, and there's not even smack talk. Everyone knows that Trandoshans and Wookiees hate each other. So like maybe it's for like, oh, we don't want to show bad issues with race, but you already hint at it when you make him purposefully dismember a Trandoshan, literally just for the sole fact that he doesn't like a Trandoshan.
Yep.
So you don't have them going, you stupid Wookiee, I'm gonna skin your hide and wear it as a sweater. You know, like obviously not like that, but like,
Why do you sound like a pirate? This ain't Sea of Thieves.
I don't know, man. That's just my Trandoshan. But here, more Busk.
Yeah,
I
there you
don't
go.
know.
That's better.
And like, which also like, sidebar, I'm not even sad that they didn't even bring Bosk in.
I wasn't either. I was really hoping for it. It was more
Yes.
wishful thinking.
Yeah, and like the fact that they never brought him, that's fine.
And maybe you'll see him in season 3 of Mando.
Maybe.
Calling it now, you never know.
I wouldn't be at this point. Really, I'm not going to be surprised by any appearance by any bounty hunters or other characters. So back on track to the action. It from there on, it was a lot of shooty, and then some flash, but no real substance. Like specifically with the droids, they're like, "Ooh, look these cool droids!" I'm like, "Yo, that's awesome!" And they can't aim.
No, they can't do anything.
You can show people dying. Like no one cares about the Freetown
Right.
folk and the mods. No one cares. Maybe the show creators, maybe they care, but the viewers, come on. There's
No.
not a single. I guarantee you, there's not a single viewer who really could give a crap.
You have Joe Schmo A, B, and C from Freetown and the mods. So there's 6 people that you probably
Yeah.
just could have killed it, and you've been like, oh, okay, well that makes sense because there's a lot of gunfire fighting going on, and those are droids.
Yeah,
And
and
from what I remember from watching the Clone Wars, I mean, they can hit.
yeah, like you watch a clone trooper, like try to punch a droid, and the droid point blank actually hits him.
Hey, hey,
Kills
hey,
him.
You leave him alone. He is a hero.
Oh, he is a hero. I'm not making fun of him.
Speak with him with respect.
So there was that, and it goes along with the theme of looking back at most other episodes that Robert Rodriguez did direct.
He did not have his best moments this series.
It's like it goes back to the original problem. There's a ladybug that just flew next to me. Hi.
Yeah,
this is
I've
the
been watching
middle
it
of
on the wall.
February. Okay. Is underutilization. We talked about this so much our first recording session, and again, so that that further proves my point about Chrysanthemum. They just show him, and then, like you said, all of a sudden he shows up again. You need to show his fight there.
Yeah, you need to show how he escapes. Like all of a sudden he just escapes. Like
Yeah.
how?
You don't even have to show the escaping. Just show that he is actually holding his own. Not all of a sudden he got tackled.
So I think
And then
that's what
leave the
he
impression
tried
that
to
he's
do
died.
at first. I think that's what Robert Rodriguez tried to do at first. He's showing him hold his own
Mhm.
against a bunch of Trandoshans.
So
'cause
maybe it's
he
the
was.
editing.
So I mean, it could be, but they cut out a huge part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't Rodriguez get a final say into what?
Yeah, he's
goes in
directing,
and
so
what
he
goes
should
out?
be able to
So
tell the
you have.
editors.
I don't care how strong you are and how much hate is running through your blood when you see someone or some people that you don't like. When you have 8, just gonna say 8 because that's how it felt. When you have 8 lizards on top of you, that's hard to
Yeah.
get away.
And they're supposed to be, if not equally, almost as strong as a Wookiee.
And he was also injured.
Yes.
That's the other
Did you
thing.
notice when he ran back that his right foot was like completely sideways?
I did not, but that's kind of cool. It's a nice touch.
Yeah,
So
and
wait-
then it was completely fine the rest of the episode.
Okay, so they can show that, but they can't show like dead bodies in a place that got blown up.
It very well could have just been a wardrobe malfunction. They're like, oh, we'll keep it in there.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
I
it gets
guess.
fixed later on. But who knows? Maybe it was just dislocated and then he puts it back.
Yeah, that. I mean, I can see
Now-
him doing that.
One thing that they only hinted at, and I don't think they showed it or even mentioned it in the show. I could be wrong. Maybe Garza Flip did mention it when she was talking him up to try to calm him down and not hurt that Trandoshan back in the like 4th episode, I think it was. But he has cybernetics, like those whole knuckle things.
Yeah.
Those aren't
They're
attached.
electric black. They're electric.
They're
brass
built in to his actual knuckles. So
Yeah.
he is a mod technically. And so he's supposed to actually have infused bones and stuff, kind of like Wolverine, if
Okay.
I'm remembering correctly. But again, your normal viewer's not going to know that.
No, I mean I didn't know that. I just figured that you couldn't see what he was wearing underneath that massive fur.
Yeah. So I think that's supposed to be their reasoning for him having gotten out of that. But I'm totally with you that
You still need to show it.
yeah, like there's the whole show don't tell, and yes, you don't have to show everything, but
no,
there's
you
some
have
things
to
you
show
need
how
to.
he escaped because they were on top of him.
Mhm.
He's injured.
And like it's okay for every couple shots to I'm gonna burp, excuse me. It's okay for every couple of shots to just show a back and forth cutting between the pikes shooting at people and then the free poke shooting at them. Like that's fine, but again, that's too much shooty without anything actually happening.
Yep.
Because there's no threat.
Yep. Well, moving on.
Yeah, I got my main rant out of the way there.
Just that way, we're not talking about this for
Yeah,
4
I
hours.
could
'cause
basically
I
repeat
could
myself.
Yeah, I could do the same thing. So we're gonna move forward. It brings me to my next, my favorite part of the whole thing is when Pelimoto finds Mando.
Oh my god, this is actually your favorite thing?
It's my favorite scene, like from start to finish. But there's a moment later on that we haven't got to yet that was my favorite because it's so silly. And I know I think I know what they were doing when they did it, just to kind of show it. But it was just so silly that I couldn't help but laugh. And it felt so out of place for an episode like this, but it was my favorite because of what it was.
Okay.
So when we get to that again, I'll go over it. But I thought, sorry, I got lost in my own thoughts. Mando or Pelimoto finds Mando,
Yes.
and she's like, "Hey, I found you." He's like, "You need to leave.
He's like, why are you here?
now? You need to leave now."
Like, how does she not hear all the gunfire?
I don't know.
She's so excited.
Yeah, maybe that's it. She's so worried about trying to find Mando that she's not paying attention to it. Maybe she just doesn't care. She's like, oh, I mean, it is Tatooine after all. It's nothing new.
But I feel like the giant stomping of the walkers or the walker droids, I don't really know what to call them. And the big blasts. Yeah, I like
Droids.
that. That's Disney canon.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool, and little Grogu seeing Mando, I thought that was so cute.
When he jumps onto him.
Oh my god.
I actually have a list in my notes called points that hit, and my second point is Grogu jumping onto Mando. So cute, melted my heart.
I thought, I mean, we all know that Grogu is just super adorable.
Yes.
But I thought they went a little extra on certain points.
Oh yes.
Oh
yeah.
It makes me so hyped for the Mandalorian season 3.
Oh man. Yeah.
Just watching him again.
Every time they just show those two together, or even just show them, you just get so excited.
So
It's so nice to see them.
we were both right. Well, technically you were right. I was wrong because I thought I wanted him to choose Yoda's lightsaber.
Oh yeah.
But for my prediction, I was right that he chose the chainmail. So now he can go
Yes.
get trained by Ezra.
Which is a scene we completely skipped over.
Well, I mean, because it's compared to what else is going on, it's very minor having R2 fly the ship.
But we do get a good line by Pelimoto. Grogu? I'm not calling you that. That's kind of a little shout out to all the fans going, no, it's Baby Yoda.
Yeah, well, again, it's a silly name. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like a Star Wars name for Baby Yoda.
It feels very on brand to me.
See,
It's like one of those dumb Star
it took
Wars
me
names.
a while to get used to it, but I think at the time was the first time I heard Depa Billaba.
Oh, Depa Balaba.
So I was like, really, Grogu is the best you can come up with. But if you look at it separately, it's a fine name. I just don't think it fits Yoda or what Yoda's species is. Grogu.
Maybe that's because the only two we know both basically have the same name. Yaddle.
Yaddle and Yoda, and then Grogu.
Yeah. I don't know.
It sounds like some disease you get on your toes. Like, yo, I think you got a bad case of Grogu on your foot.
See, it's nice that we have like literal opposite opinions on this because I think it's fine. My first reaction when I heard it was this is kind of stupid. But then I thought more about it. I was like, nah, that's Star
Yeah,
Wars.
exactly. Like, I'm not opposed to the name.
Mhm.
I think for what his species is,
I think it fits.
I don't. And that's okay. Life
Exactly.
goes on. I'm going to cancel you now.
Okay, that's fine.
You're not allowed to have a different
I'll
opinion.
leak some controversial photos. You bring
So-
me down, I'm taking you with me.
So we see the whole spiel of them, and you see
The
how close.
reunion.
Yeah, them being Pelimoto and the
Oh,
droids,
yeah.
and Mando hitching a ride on the back.
The pit droid like hanging on while
Yeah.
it's going.
The pit droids always crack me up too. I think the way they actually play them is quite nice.
I mean, I loved him in Phantom Menace.
So you see them, you see how close they are, and you're kind of reminded of that.
Mhm.
And it was really nice to see. And then the droid like flips.
So, I don't know if this was intentional or if this is just me over.
They made it seem like Baby Yoda,
Th-
like used the Force.
Yeah,
and,
okay.
like,
I thought I might have
did
just been
something
like
to the
blind.
droid.
It looked like Baby Yoda was like destroying the.
It
the
looked like he was
pilot.
being a kid and causing trouble.
Yeah, that's literally what it looked like. I was like, why did he do that?
I don't know, but Mando has some very quick reflexes. The way he just like in the air just grabs him and
Yeah.
like, cradles him.
I thought he was gonna try to grab Pelimoto too, and then he just goes, nah.
I just think he ran out of time. I don't think he was overly
I mean, yeah,
concerned
this is
about
all
Pelimoto
second.
too. So yeah, so I thought I saw that like that makes sense.
Mhm.
You went for him. That was very impressive.
Yes.
So then you see them worried, and all of a sudden you hear rumblings. Rumble.
And it's
Rumble.
all what we hoped
Rumble,
for.
rumble, rumble, rumble. And what I didn't like about that was that everything stopped.
Yeah, because a droid wouldn't care.
No, it wouldn't. So that's my one critique for that moment
Mm-hmm.
was that's not how that works. That's not how
Like
it
if
would
it was
work.
two human armies, then yeah. And by human, I mean humanoid.
Yeah. So all of a sudden you just hear rumble, 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 and out from the shadows comes this massive rancor, and who's riding it?
Jar Jar.
Boba Fett.
Woo!
So I thought that was really cool.
Dude, and it actually, I was like, oh, it's not just an aesthetic thing, the ring in his nose. Because they showed the chains, and that's how he pilots him. I was like, oh.
It
I don't
makes
know if
sense.
everybody else knew that, but I didn't. To me, I thought it was just an aesthetic thing.
I mean, it's Star Wars, so it really could have been anything. So I didn't think anything of
Yeah,
it.
okay, thank you. I'm not alone in that.
No. So I thought that was really cool. Also, what happened to Danny Trejo? Like, where did he go?
Right?
He Boba has to learn how to
He's like-
ride. You don't see him learn how to ride, and Danny Trejo's gone.
Yeah, he's
Where
just
did he
like,
go?
all right, I came here for my buddy Robert. I'm gonna go film Spy Kids 6.
He's gonna go be
Peace.
Machete again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he does have to manage Trejo's tacos.
Yeah, that is fair. Who knows? Maybe you see him in like Harold and Kumar 4 or something. Instead of the Christmas special, they do a Halloween one. Who knows? So
I'd be down
yeah,
to watch that.
I was wondering where he went because he's not there.
Not gonna lie, didn't even think about. I forgot about him.
Just because he was riding the Rancor and
Mhm.
Boba said to him, "I want to learn how to ride it." You don't see him learn how to ride. He rides
Like a bantha.
like a bantha. So I was just curious about that.
Yeah.
It didn't take up a lot of time
Mm-hmm.
or space in my mind. I was kind of curious.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you brought him in. He tells you all this stuff
Mhm.
about the Rancor and how like
It
how important it
imprints.
is to have you be the first person it sees, and now he's not there.
Yeah. So like, again with the whole pacing of the show, it has times where it does and doesn't feel like one of their animated shows. Because you know how the pacing in those, it's like they can get away. I mean, again, because it's an animated show, they can get away with an entire like little mini montage or even an entire episode or part of an episode dedicated to the smaller things like that.
Right.
So sometimes this show actually did feel like that because, like, when they're building Mando's new ship, it felt like one of those small
Yeah.
things that Rebels or Clone Wars or Bad Batch would have focused on.
That took up way too much. of the episode.
Exactly. Whereas if this was like Mando season 1, they would have just had bum 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 with like a 30-second
Yeah.
montage of it being built.
Kind
and
of
then
like
ends.
them repairing the Razor Crest.
Exactly. Yeah, with Quill.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, I yeah, no, I was curious about that solely because he said he wanted to learn how to ride it. I figured if he learned how to ride it, you'd see maybe a little something here or there of him trying.
Hmm.
And then this is his triumphant. I've figured it out. I'm riding him now. I am the coolest man on the planet.
Oh my gosh.
Because
Yeah.
that was awesome.
Bow down to me.
And then just watching him like shoot people.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That was so funny to
They
me.
start to shoot at Boba, and he's just like, "I'm on top of a Rancor. I don't care about you." He's just shooting at him. Oh my god.
Or like when the Rancor picks him up in the fist, so he just shoots him. Like
Oh,
I thought that was
yeah.
funny. And then the one Wilhelm
Yeah,
scream
when
is
he
he
throws-
full on yeets him across the
I
whole
thought that
city.
was such a nice touch. Dude, did you hear the smack he made? Oh.
I thought that whole scene was very great. I thought the whole fight with the
Yeah.
Rancor was very great.
Yeah, I was surprised he only ate one person.
I was too,
But
but
he
this
crushed enough, so that
this
was
brings me up to
satisfying.
my next point. He ate someone and like nothing happened. Like he didn't even get bit in half. There was no blood.
Oh yeah, he just kind of like
He just
swallowed him whole.
swallows him whole. He has
Yeah.
teeth. He would chew. He would chew.
Yeah, but I guess maybe not since they actually digest the bones and then poop out the bones, so maybe they don't care about the chewing like that.
Maybe, but I mean, I still feel like he would have like more than like two gulp deep throated a whole living thing. Like I still feel like he would have been like, all right, let's try to smush him down a little bit. You know, he's not a snake.
Mm-hmm.
Snakes don't chew their food.
Yeah.
He has teeth. He has very sharp teeth. They make a very, very poignant thing of showing that he has teeth. So I thought that that was just Disney-fied again, like not showing like
Yeah.
any gore, like crunching of the bones.
Because knowing how Robert Rodriguez is as a director, he would totally want to show that.
So that was one of my other things, and I have one more critique about the Disney-fying, and we'll get to
Mhm.
that when we hit to the end of the episode.
The big
But-
finale.
Yeah, my favorite part of the episode is when the Rancor. You know what? We'll backtrack because we're not quite there
Okay.
yet. So then Cad Bane comes in,
Yep, and then uses
and
his
he
flamethrower to
uses the
scare-
flame to scare him off.
Yeah, so I was noticing that people were like, why would he be scared of a little bit of flame? And I'm like, well, don't forget, he's only a calf.
He's only a calf, and maybe then just like the Rancors, that's what they're scared of.
Yeah, like everybody's got a thing.
Yeah,
I
like,
mean, look at fantasy. Like every mythical creature's got a little thing.
everyone and everything has something.
Yeah, mine's spiders and heights.
So I mean, I didn't think it was that far fetched.
Yeah, I didn't have any issue
Like,
with that.
I wouldn't
thought
want to
it
be
showed.
toasted alive either. Fire's hot.
Yeah, and I mean, I liked seeing that Cad Bane was actually using other tools, and
Yeah,
that
I thought that was
he
cool
was
too.
A, resourceful, and B, he was smart.
And again, he just walks in
Yeah.
knowing exactly what he's gonna do, knowing that he's gonna come out on top. This scenario
Mhm.
where he could very easily be eaten, he's not gonna be eaten.
No, he's not. And he made a point of that, and which is good because that would have been kind of a very anticlimactic way for him to go out, is just getting eaten by the Rancor. But there's actually right before his entrance, when the Rancor is fighting the giant droids, the Scorpalooka. We don't remember the name.
The Depa Balaba.
The Scorpalabas. I actually really enjoyed that scene. So that's where I thought they got back on track with the action, because the Rancor actually gets damaged, and you see like his scales kind of like lighting up with embers, but then cooling off again to show that his species got really thick
They're tough.
skin. They
They
tough.
are.
But
tough
he's also
hombres.
going, ow, and like the
Well,
whole
yeah, it's gonna
crushing and
hurt.
constantly banging at the shields. I loved it.
It felt like it was a Rancor trying to fight.
Yes.
It didn't feel like they were forcing it. They didn't make him too strong.
No,
They
'cause
showed
he
him
had to
exactly
keep
how he
hitting.
was. He
Yeah.
got hit. They didn't make it so they
Mhm.
missed the Rancor. They finally hit something. It just had to be 15 feet tall.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, and then the shield's getting weakened, so Mando could finally go inside of it and
Mhm.
then use the dark saber.
So yeah, no, that scene totally skipped over my head. I
Yeah.
totally forgot to talk about that. I really liked that. I really enjoyed it. I thought
I mean,
it
both
was,
of us have only watched this episode once, and that was
yeah.
today.
Well, I watched it at like maybe 4 or 5, so it'll be no, I think it was 4, so that would be a lot more fresh.
Okay, so we've got 12 hours apart from
Yeah.
our viewings.
So now the cap has been scared off. Boba's been thrown from the top
Yep.
of the Rancor, and they
Where's
wait.
Mando at this point? Is he just with Pelimoto? Like,
I think he's with Pelimoto, but they kind of bring it full circle and they find the Rancor.
okay, that's right.
And
He kind of probably goes. Oh, that's right. He goes off to try to stop the Rancor.
Yep.
Okay,
And
could
so-
continue.
he, obviously they're gonna save the final standoff for last. So
Yes.
they cut to Mando trying to like calm everything down, and he goes to the Rancor,
Sounds getting
which-
real low.
which brings me to my favorite point of the Rancor climbing the tower like King Kong. I thought that was great, and I loved it. It was my favorite part of the whole episode. That one little bit of him being King Kong, it cracked me up because it really did not belong there.
Oh, and trying to bite Mando.
I thought that was funny.
That was
But-
great.
Again, because I know there wasn't a season, or there is a season 3, and I knew he wasn't gonna die,
Mhm.
which really killed the suspense of, oh crap, he's in danger. It was,
Yeah.
all right, let's see how long it takes for him to get out of this one.
I like how it was only the head. I was fully expecting his like whole torso to get in there.
Maybe they could have shown like the glass of where his visor is like shattering
yeah.
or something to kind of
Add a little
maybe
more
add a little
threat.
more
Yeah.
to make it seem a little more threatening.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't even do that. He was just kind of like biting metal.
Exactly. And when they started to zoom in a bit on his helmet when it was really trying to chomp down, I thought they were going to show there was like, oh, a Rancor might actually be strong enough to bend this metal.
Maybe that's how he gets his iconic dent.
Not Cad shooting it in a clip from the Clone Wars that never made it.
But that was my favorite moment from that whole scene or from the whole episode was just the King Kong
Rancor.
homage. I thought that was hilarious. I also thought it didn't really belong in Star Wars. I thought it was really funny and I really enjoyed it. But in a massive showdown to essentially what Boba views as saving the planet, and you have a Rancor just going,
They kind of started to destroy the Mosespa.
yeah. I thought that King Kong bit, it felt out of place. I really enjoyed it. It felt out of place from trying to save the whole planet.
It kind of like felt, for me, it wasn't that it felt out of place. It just was like, oh, the episode's still going.
Yeah.
Because even after the fatal duel, that's when they show that.
Yeah.
So in the fatal duel.
Well, before we get to that,
Uh-huh.
I want to save that for last.
Oh,
because
okay.
I'm very opinionated
Aha.
about what
I
happened.
think that means I'm in the minority.
So, you see Baby Yoda,
Oh,
Grogu.
yeah.
You see him come out, and he's like, "All right, my daddy just got hurt. I'm gonna take care of this," and then he just puts him right.
Yeah, he uses the beast control.
I thought again maybe some Ezra connections. 'Cause Ezra
Yes,
is
yeah, I
very
actually was
strong
thinking the
with
same
animals.
thing. Also, actually, before I even thought of that, I was remembering Anakin in the Geonosian arena doing that to control the Reek that he
Oh,
then
yeah.
rides. You see him, the Reek's about to charge him, and then he goes, Force, nope. All right, I'm going to tame you, wrap
Yep.
this chain around you, you're mine.
So he quiets him down, puts him to sleep, and I
Yep.
thought it was adorable the way
Oh,
he
he
just
snuggles.
he just pets him. He's like there, and then he just curls up right next to him,
Yeah.
and my heart melted, man.
They even had him do the whole kitty thing where he kind of like moves his head back and forth a little bit to rub against and
Yep.
before passing out completely. I love how Mando just looked at him and was like, that's my kid. But when he first approaches, he being Grogu, when Grogu first approaches the Rancor as he's sleeping and he goes up to the mouth, I was like, someone's totally going to make an edit where it just goes, what if this is how it ended? And the Rancor just goes, and just
I
chomps
was-
and one bite eats.
Part
Grogu.
of me, not for like any good particular reason, part of me just for the comedic value
Yeah.
that would have came out of that was hoping, oh please eat him, please just
Right?
eat him. That would be so funny, and
Oh.
it would be so terrible for everything that good that they've done, it would just be ruined in 2 seconds of
Yep.
just a very, very bad decision.
They probably thought about it, and then they're like, well, the way out of it is he bit into the Beskar chainmail.
Or, I mean, he's small enough, you can just eat him whole, and then he
Exactly.
finds a way to escape, or Mando just cuts him loose.
Exactly. He's got the Darksaber. That can
Yeah.
probably penetrate the Rancor.
I mean, knowing Mando, he'd probably just go in after him and then
Yeah,
grab
right,
Grogu
like
from
the
the
crate
inside,
dragon.
and then he'd just cut him loose.
Yeah.
So, I thought that was very adorable.
Yes, sir.
Again, little Grogu being adorable. I know that's a shock.
So now you ready for the
ready.
the climactic duel?
I'm ready.
All right. So after Boba gets thrown off the Rancor, Cad again has some back and forth with him, and we get them. He again starts to antagonize Boba, but then Boba starts to show his ground here, doing the whole underdog thing, being like, "Listen, I know you can probably outdo me, but I'm not gonna not try."
Right?
Which
Yeah.
I liked the dialogue again because Cat Bane just sounds so amazing.
He is one badass dude.
It's like hearing Clint Eastwood in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Oh, yep.
Yeah, no, I got some Clint Eastwood vibes throughout the whole episode 2 whenever Cad showed up.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was awesome. He's still full of himself at age 71. It's quite a treat to watch. And Cad knows, I can take you. I don't care if you're wearing a full bodysuit and you can't move because it's just only metal.
Yeah.
I'm still going to find a way to win, and I will win.
Yep, he does his they have their classic Western standoff.
Yep.
Cad draws first, does some rolls, gets Boba down, takes off his helmet, and then puts the gun to the head, and then Boba takes out his gaffy stick, which I did not see him have.
I saw him have it when he was riding the Rancor.
Okay, I
And I
completely missed it. So for me, it came out of nowhere.
So he did have it on the Rancor, and I thought that's kind of peculiar. You're riding a Rancor and you have a gaffy stick.
Okay,
Like,
I completely missed it.
what are you gonna do?
I was probably
beat
too
him like a
focused on
horse?
the Rancor.
I mean, I try to look on or for things like that.
I do
I
on
don't
my
always
second
do a
viewing.
good job.
On my first viewing, I usually am just so captivated that I'm like, I'm not even
Yeah.
gonna try.
I try to. I'm not very good at it, but I try. And I
Mhm.
did notice the gaffy stick, and that stood out to me because he's riding the Rancor.
Yeah, you don't need a close range weapon. Maybe it's a cattle prod, you know?
Well, so yeah, like I said, but he's not beating a horse.
Yeah, no.
Like, you're not gonna make him go faster. Yet you have the chains in his nose to steer him. Like,
Yeah.
what do you need it for? So I found that curious, and we see why he has it in a minute.
Yep.
But my issue with the end isn't that they killed Cat.
Well, hold on, you jumped to that part.
Spoiler alert.
So he Boba knocks Cad down
Boba-
with the gaffy stick,
Yep, he knocks him down.
and in a bit of poetic justice,
Just stabs him.
stabs him in the chest.
So my issue wasn't that they killed him, or wasn't how they killed him. It was the fact that they just introduced him and now he's dead.
Yeah. So
I thought, I honestly felt like he got Django'd a little bit and Boba'd.
yeah. So my first reaction was, oh, they actually did it, because when we talked before, I told you that 100% they're not going to kill him off.
I didn't think they would either, and I thought if they did, it wouldn't be until if there was a Boba
Mhm.
season 2, which kind of makes me think there's not a Boba season 2.
Yeah, so even when they first announced the Book of Boba, I never assumed it was going to get a season 2.
I thought it was going to get a season 2, but maybe no more, depending on how this season went.
I believe it wasn't received well enough to get a second season, but who knows? The
Who knows?
sequels got all 3, so.
So I have no issues with him dying.
Mhm.
It's
Just the fact that it happened after being introduced at.
you finally got to see him in live action,
Yes.
and it was really cool. And
Yeah.
like really,
Yeah, so I was a
Really?
little disappointed as well, but then I thought about it and I was like, well, it is. I thought about it this way. This is how I'm looking at it. We finally have the answer of what happens to Cat after the Clone Wars.
Yep.
That and like you said, he's 71. That's old. And
Yeah, it
I
is old.
believe I also read that for his species in particular, that's like really old.
No,
That's
for
like
his
100 for
species,
humans.
He's lived like a long, full life.
Yeah,
So,
so it was like,
I
okay,
had no
he's
issues with
finally.
that.
It's like, okay, we've seen him a lot in the animated series, and like I predicted last week, we'll probably get a bunch of Cad Bane in Bad Batch season 2.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
Um, Again, like I said, I have no issues with the fact that he died. It's just when they
Yeah.
chose to introduce him, and then the next episode he's dead. Like,
Yeah.
come on, you could have showed him off more.
Maybe we'll see him in Kenobi.
Yeah, you never know.
That might be them being like, hey, we did it. He's in live action. Can't wait to see more.
Did
You'll
you
get
see
it.
the thing I sent you earlier?
I have
about
not looked at Instagram.
So I guess one of the
other than my
Inquisitors
own.
is also going to be in Kenobi.
One of the what?
Inquisitors.
Oh yes, yeah. That's actually been in IMDb for like a good year.
Well, so they finally have like a casting on who it is. So I sent that to you
Isn't
today.
it he and I think I know his name. Like the name of the character or the actor? Because I think the actor's been cast for a while.
You know what? Here, let me pull it up right now, and I can show you.
Or are you referring? Oh no, I know what I'm thinking of. The character's name was like the brother or something. That's who I'm thinking of. I remember seeing what you're talking about. The Grand Inquisitor, correct?
Yep. So Rupert Friend is playing the Grand Inquisitor.
Okay. Yes, I did see that. Yeah. Sorry, I got him confused with like a number and then the brother, because you know how there's like the ninth sister, second sister. It was like something brother. So a Inquisitor was always confirmed. It's just that we never had the Grand Inquisitor confirmed.
Yeah. So
yeah, no, that's exciting.
I'm very excited about Kenobi. But back to my
Yes.
my main takeaway about Boba
Mhm.
was that if this is the only season,
Mhm.
they still found a way to do him dirty.
Boba.
Yeah.
So,
I don't feel like he
elaborate.
So for the fans, like you wanted to see Boba be Boba,
Yes.
and you finally got to see it at the end, but you didn't see it for 6 weeks.
Yep.
And that now it's over. Like there's no second season. I feel like he didn't get his due justice of how awesome he really is, considering how long we've been waiting to see him.
Mhm.
I feel like they kind of they missed their opportunity. They created one, and they didn't. Instead of hitting a home run, they hit a fly ball to center field.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of disappointed with that. I had a lot of hopes for Boba, and it didn't deliver as well as I thought. It didn't.
Yeah, so to go with that, actually, here, let me get to that point in my notes.
Damn, how many notes do you have?
It's just one small page, but I just have to, because of the window being kind of smaller, I have to just find the correct part. Here, while I'm searching, keep talking.
Yeah, I got you. So I honestly thought we were going to see a season 2 of Boba, and that's why I was okay with a lot of how this season went, because I thought, okay, this makes sense. They're setting him up, and then he says maybe we're not suited for this. At the end, Are you kidding me? You just wasted the whole series.
So
Are you kidding me?
perfect. I found my notes, and it picks up with that. So
That infuriated me.
So that, I think you're actually misinterpreting it, as is
I hope so.
anybody who is who like has a similar opinion as to you for that line, because I initially reacted similarly, but only literally for a second, and then I was like, oh wait, that's not what they mean. Now I could be wrong.
I don't know. They were talking about ruling the planet. Like, she literally says the planet's yours, and he goes, maybe we're not suited for this.
So here's
and
the
he
thing.
throws the thing to chrysanthemums.
The melon.
Yeah, kind of hinting at like, all right, it's your turn, guys. This is yours.
So here's what I've got: a theory and I've got an explanation. So I've got a defense for what he said.
All right.
So he said in episode 4 that he doesn't want to work for anyone anymore. He wants to be the one in charge.
Right.
Which he ends up doing. But I believe when he says that line of maybe we're not cut out for this, because he's talking about just before that he's talking about the whole bowing and everything, everybody giving him his respects. I believe he's literally referring to the public, like, political role I
Okay.
believe that's what he's referring to, because
Okay.
also when episode 4, like you said earlier, Fennec's saying we can't escape this job. So I think what he's gonna do is pass the torch to Cobb. So in defense of the after credit scene, now I agree that it was not the spot for it, like being an after credit scene, but here's the significance that I believe. They show Cobb Vanth in the after credit scene being in the back to tank. I believe this whole significance of that is he's a well respected marshal.
Yep.
Boba's gonna pick Cad, or not Cad, Cobb, to be the public ruler there, so Boba can go off and do his own thing, collect maybe even more power elsewhere, kind of like Jabba did. Jabba did rule, but but obviously not to be lazy like Jabba,
See,
because
my
he's saying he doesn't like that.
the only problem I see with that is Cobb seems like he's a good dude, and he's
Mm-hmm.
not into like criminal activities.
Yes, but he would be the one to keep everyone in line on the planet itself. And Boba even said, for the deal, I'll make sure that there's no spice on the planet.
Right, but I mean, he's still taking over Jabba's business, so it's still a lot of shady things that are going to be
Well,
going on.
Jabba's claim on Tatooine, not Jabba's whole crimes
Okay, I got you.
syndicate too. Because like even when they introduced the twins and then unfortunately never bring them back, they said that they lay claim to their
Right.
cousin's uh uh
The land,
the
basically,
land.
not the
Yes,
business. Okay,
basically,
I got you.
and all of his businesses there. But it seems like they're cleaning it up and everything. So I believe that that's what they're going to do. So we're not going to get a season 2. We're ending it there.
Yep.
Cobb's going to get his cybernetic. He's going to become the ruler there. And Boba is going to be free to go off and do what he wants.
Okay,
But he's
so
still ultimately in charge and can call the shots.
we're going to see Boba in season 3.
Of Mando,
Probably they'll find a way to tie him into Ahsoka
exactly,
or
that's
something.
what I'm thinking.
What do you think they're going to do then? Because it's not going to be how they did
Mm-hmm.
in Boba, where they're just going to have full episodes of Mando.
So I think the whole point of this show was to bring in alliances that can be introduced for an ultimate, like whenever all these series come to their ultimate end with like whatever series ends up being that end, because
So
they're all connected.
They're okay, so they're going like the Marvel route.
Yes, this
Okay.
is literally what they're doing. Like they showed their timeline for the shows and how they're all going to connect. It's literally going to lead to one ultimate climax that's going to happen. Like they didn't even confirm if it's before, during, or after the sequels. So this can go well past the sequels, and it's like
Okay.
focusing on the stuff that we're actually going to care about and like, where the sequels failed, because we're not going to focus on them. We'll probably see the First Order. They even hint at that with showing the failed clones in season 2 of Mando, and genetic mishaps like with Snoke and stuff. So I think we're going to get a tie-in to the sequels, but we're going to get a better like production of that, but all in shows.
So not to get off topic, I thought of something. So correct me if I'm wrong, but Sabine is a Mandalorian, correct?
Sabine Wren, yes, she's from House Wren.
So Mando's looking for House,
Yes,
and
which I initially thought he was going to join Fett's house.
I did too. But if they're gonna tie in Ahsoka
Mhm.
with Mando, and if I'm right about Ezra training Grogu,
I would love to see that. I want you to
I'm
be right
just
on that.
saying.
So is it that he's looking for a house, or that would just probably be an official way in? Because he, even though the armorer said that you are a Mandalorian no more, he's still going, I'm a Mandalorian. Weapons are part of my religion.
Well, so I know he said that in the last episode, and he still believes his creed.
Mm-hmm.
But I think without a house to actually represent him, I don't know if other people would actually consider him one.
Mm.
So
It's very possible. So to kind of go along with that, I had a feeling. You know how the episode ends?
I've got a bad feeling about this.
You know how the episode ends with Mando just speeding off?
Can we talk about Grogu for a second doing that? Just to tapping on the
yeah.
glass.
At first I was like, why are you doing that, buddy?
And then he's like, fine, I give in. You're annoying kid. And then the little squeal he makes as he just zoom.
So I was thinking, I was like, well, it's not 100% confirmed the release date of Mando season 3. So I'm actually wondering if maybe it might the next series we might get actually might be the Ahsoka series before season 3 of Mando, and it might pick up with him like meeting up with Ahsoka, and then he's with her and finds the whole gang, Thrawn, all that.
So we know Ahsoka leaves Luke.
Yes, but I don't know if they have any way of finding one another.
I don't either, but I know Mando is very good at finding.
Yes, he is.
So
bounty hunter after all.
Mando's mission was to bring Grogu to his own kind, which at the time I thought was the whole Yoda species.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did.
So I mean,
myself included,
it makes sense that it would be the Jedi because his kind is Force users.
Yes.
So we know Ahsoka is out looking for Thrawn.
Yes, which we are all assuming Ezra is with him because that's where we left off in.
That's Rebels. The last thing you see with Rebels is what's the name of those beasts? Those tentacle whales?
Space whales.
Yeah, the space whales.
That's all I remember.
So the last thing we see is them just taking the ship and just zooming off, and they were both stuck inside. So it's very logical to think Ezra is still with them.
Mm-hmm.
So if she's looking for Ezra, and Mando's looking for her, so if Mando finds her, he has to find someone else to bring Grogu to.
Unless, since he went with Luke and then now he's back with Mando, that's no longer his mission. I mean, mission accomplished when he did bring him to him.
Maybe, but maybe he's thinking, all right, I tried a Jedi, but maybe she can find someone else who's not a Jedi and, not an evil Sith user.
Yeah, so what they could do is pick up with them and Ahsoka finding everybody, but then once they do, Ezra does train Grogu enough to find the balance and not give in to the dark side.
Ezra has experience in learning about attachment, watching Kanan.
That and always trying to get redemption for his parents.
So to me it fits perfectly that it would be Ezra and Grogu. Maybe I'm just looking too much into it, but
no, ever since you said it, I'm literally on board with this because I think that Ezra he's actually a very underrated Jedi because he literally overcame the biggest temptation. He went into the world between worlds and had the ability to change the death of his parents and everything.
Yep.
He wanted to change Kanan's death.
I don't blame him.
And then Ahsoka, when he saves Ahsoka, she says, no, you would make, it in vain or something. Well, then he wouldn't have died, so I don't know. But, she basically said wise Ahsoka words to stop him. But
yeah, no, she made it make sense.
And
I think everyone else would have. I think she said everyone else would have died if she pulls Kanan out because everyone else wouldn't get away in time.
Oh, true, because he sacrificed himself to save her.
Because the ship was right there.
Yeah, and then Palpatine somehow he tries to get into the world between worlds and get into Ezra's head, and Ezra's like, "No, I'm not gonna give into this." It's like, dude, that's impressive and amazing.
Especially because he's only a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, he's only in his teens.
But maybe that helps, like that young naiveness of just being a kid. Kind of like, at the science fair or something like that. That kid that comes out of nowhere, like he doesn't know any better, so that's why he makes it as far as he does. He doesn't know yet. He doesn't know like what's a big deal, what's not a big deal. He's just a kid.
Which is great to see that we get male and female Jedi in an animated series who both started off as the most obnoxious little craps ever, and then actually go through good character development where you love them. Ahsoka being the female and Ezra being the male.
So
that's great.
The more I think about it, and maybe because it's my own theory, I can kind of tie it together better. But it makes a lot of sense to me. Especially if he's looking for Ahsoka, and she's looking for Ezra,
and then they meet up. It would make sense that Ezra would want to help even in the smallest way.
Yep. And you have the tie-in of Sabine being a Mandalorian, so he's not going to be like some foreigner.
Oh my god! And then the whole Thrawn tie-in, Thrawn might be like, "Oh, there's our little green guy that we've been after." Like,
Yeah, it's something.
I actually think that Ezra is with Thrawn, but so based off of Ahsoka going after what was her name? She's from Mando season 2 when we see Ahsoka, the chick with the Beskar spear.
Oh,
What was her name?
I don't know. Nor do
But
I
basically,
really care.
her master was Thrawn. So I was like, wait. So if her master is Thrawn, she's there. Ahsoka's after her. This either all happens before Thrawn goes bye bye, or maybe somehow Thrawn does escape, and he's actually got Ezra captured. He's such a tactical mind that I do believe that even though Ezra has the upper hand of having him tied up by those whales, the whales are eventually going to go away. And yes, probably on a one-on-one combat, like Ezra could beat Thrawn, but Thrawn's mind is just so smart. He could outdo Ezra. So maybe he's got him captured.
We touched up on this last time we recorded, and I think you said the same thing.
Did I?
Yeah. So, and my response was, and thinking about it a little bit more, I can give a little bit more in depth of an answer. So last time I said maybe she knows Ezra's with him, and she's looking for Thrawn. And if you think about it, the only people that know Ezra or where to find Ezra watched him fly away.
Yes.
So, but how many people will know about Thrawn when he's that high up on the Empire? A lot of people.
Exactly. Everyone.
So if you track down people that, especially anyone that was higher up in the Empire that worked with Thrawn or around Thrawn or knew Thrawn, there's going to be a lot more than 4 people on a ship. So if you track them down one by one, eventually someone may know about what happened that day and where they could have potentially gone. So I think it happened after Thrawn and Ezra flew off. I think she knows that there's more of a chance of hunting down Empire people and trying to see if you can get one of them to talk to figure out.
Feel him out in the Force.
Yeah. So I think Ezra is still with Thrawn. I don't know how they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Because Ezra's there. They're gonna.
We don't even know how far off in the galaxy they went off because they went into hyperspace.
Yeah, exactly. So
they could still be in hyperspace.
So you know how Zeb had to do that whole thing to find that lost planet or whatever.
Oh yeah, the backup sanctuary
planet. In the sequels, they had the Sith holocron find Exegol, which was a lost planet essentially,
which is cool in concept.
It is. It's very cool, but maybe they find another one just by zooming off into hyperspace for 2 years.
Yeah. Very possible. I mean, it's a big galaxy.
Yeah.
Bring in the Yuzang.
Maybe they do.
Oh my god.
Maybe they do.
I'm just saying, if we see those whales in live action, that would be cool. It's not a must do, but I think that would be really cool.
That would be really really cool.
I
guess
really
it depends on
the way of the heir to the Empire. I really think that that's what Filoni and Favreau are trying to do, especially with them having the exact same planet at the end of the Bad Batch Season 1 with the cloning facility where they end up making a clone of Luke and everything. I don't really want them to actually do that storyline. That one's kind of stupid, especially because he's Luke with 2 U's or something like that. Exactly. I think that's kind of stupid. But if they go that route, I'll be just happy because they might eventually bring in the inclusion of the Yuzang Vong and all that. But if they, it just feels like that's the route they're going to. And if I ever see live action Yuzang Vong, I am going to die of happiness.
I will have to put a wet floor sign underneath the pants.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna have to call out of work.
Yep. You're gonna need a day just for yourself.
Because they're the coolest aliens.
Yeah, no doubt. So, I mean, is there really anything else that you can think of?
Back to the episode, I have just some ideas on how to fix it.
Oh, let's hear it.
I just have some minor things. All right, so I have a way to turn, instead of adding a whole new after credit scene, I've got a way of fixing it at least. So it does the whole introduction, and then instead of cutting away after the reveal of Thundercat and Cobb Vanth being there, it was just in the shoulder, minor injury. They might play it up. Who cares? I think they should just leave it as he's gonna have to get healed and he's gonna have to get a cybernetic arm, whatever. But instead of ending there, it opens. They take Cobb out, and then he and Boba kind of exchange some dialogue here, and then you hear a Wookiee roar and chrysanthemums, and it cuts to just a foot angle of chrysanthemums walking in, and then you just see the upside down body of Cad Bane being dragged, and then they throw him into the back to tank, and it ends with them closing it in to heal Cad Bane.
I like that. I really like that.
Because I think he's dead, but he might not be, because if you notice, I don't know if you picked up on this, they made a very loud beeping. They purposefully make you focus on a beeping from Cad Bane's chest as they start to zoom in on his body as he's either dead or air quotes dead.
He's out cold.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't find him, he will be dead.
Yes, exactly. And like, I wouldn't be shocked or mad if they keep him alive. I think that is how you would fix that after credit scene.
Yeah, no, I totally like that.
Right?
If it were me and I were making a season 2, that's how I would have done the credits.
Exactly. So
Because
that would
it
make you
hints at-
believe there's a season 2.
Yes. So the way they did it, it does not make me believe
It
that
feels
there's a
very
season 2.
open-handed.
It feels like it's very open. It's an open and shut one season,
Yes.
and what they're gonna do instead is they're just gonna tie in Boba more with Mando in Mando season 3 or 4, however many seasons they're gonna do.
Yep.
And he's not gonna be a main character, but he's gonna be like a main side character.
Yeah. And it would, and like Cobb's not a big enough character to just leave like that.
Yeah.
So like to just be like, oh, he's getting healed. But then again, maybe that is enough indication that there's going to be a season 2. I don't know.
Well, I
don't
mean, look
think
what they
so.
did with Fennec. You thought she was dead,
Yeah.
and they've turned her into a semi-major.
That's actually a
character.
scene we didn't talk about, is her going all Predator on them, and you see the mayor's body dangling.
Well, so that's why you saw me go.
Oh.
Because I just
So
thought of
before
it.
I go-
we didn't even touch on that yet.
Yeah, so before I go on to more of my fixes, you do that. You take over for that scene.
I really liked it. You hear the gunshots, and obviously they're alarmed.
Yep.
And
And you know the sound of her gun.
yeah, so and you haven't seen her for
The episode.
most of the whole episode,
Yeah.
so you know it's got to be her.
Yep.
And you just one by one, she just takes all them out after they betrayed Boba. Excuse me. So I thought that was a very nice touch. Just to see her do that, I wish we saw her do that more.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like she was more of Boba's aide,
Yeah.
like a teaching aide rather than his right hand woman. And I thought I felt a lot more closure watching her do that than I did at the end of Boba getting his own series.
Yes.
And that can't happen. If Boba's getting his own series after being wronged in episode 6, you gotta give him a little bit more redemption
Mm-hmm.
than watching Fennec fight for 2 minutes, and I feel more closure and redemption for that. That can't happen. That can't happen. However, with that being said, I thought it was awesome. I don't know how the heck she got into that room, because she's shooting from what looks to be the outside
Mm-hmm.
and takes them all out, and then out of nowhere she just right in the back.
Oh, yeah.
It was-
the bloody, the green bloody.
It
dagger.
was awesome, and that was a nice way. I thought that was a nice way to
Mhm.
end, or how they should have ended the episode.
Yep.
I don't remember if there was a scene after that. I can't recall right now, but it was either the end or
The end was when
very-
they're walking through the streets and bowing.
okay. So then it was right near the end. Then.
Yeah. Yeah, it was right before it.
I really liked that. I loved it. I thought it was great. I don't know how she got into that room.
Yeah,
at
you
all.
kind of hear her scampering around like a rat, like
Yeah,
up top.
you hear her like outside, and you can kind of see the shadow across the window.
Hmm.
Like,
So
oh, that's how
she's
she
probably
feels.
like there's an air vent or something that she
Yeah,
goes in.
that would be my guess too. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Oh, I loved seeing the just the only thing you see is his dangling feet, the mayor's dangling feet.
So you can't show blood, but you can hear his neck snap and just see
Yes.
this dangling dead body.
Oh,
Like how? That's more dark than seeing blood.
I think so.
So that was a point that I thought of watching the episode at home. Really? I feel like you kind of got your wires crossed here as to what you're allowing and what you're not allowing. Not that I'm saying you shouldn't allow it. I thought it was awesome. But if you're not going to make it gory, like you don't hear bones crunch when the Rancor eats someone, but you can hear a neck snap from a rope, like, come on. That's just a minor critique I have. I know I'm being very negative today, but I actually really enjoyed the episode
Yeah,
as a whole.
yeah.
I'm being very
I
negative
actually,
towards
as
it.
a whole, liked the whole series too.
I did too. Just that third episode, I
Mhm.
can't stand. I can't stand it.
So, with my other fixes, before I get into them, I want to tell you that opinion that I completely 180'd on.
Oh yes, let's hear it.
Uh, episode 5 stays. We don't get episode 6. That was my favorite episode of the whole season, but we should not have gotten that in this show. Took away from Boba. There was no point in having Grogu come to Tatooine and everything. That whole ultimatum, all of that should not have even happened in this series. This
No,
whole
this should
season.
happen to Mando.
It was, and like that's where I 180'd because I loved it so much. But now that the show's over, I think that that shouldn't have happened. It should have ended with Mando leaving the planet to now give the gift to Grogu. That shouldn't have happened in the middle. I think it should have happened at the end.
I am right with you there. I'm okay with it
Mhm.
still being there. Like I'm
Yes,
not
that-
gonna
that's
say
the way-
they should take it out.
Yeah.
But I am 100% with you on that.
Mhm.
It definitely feels like that's how they should start season 3 of
Mhm.
Mando. And then since they kind of whiffed on Boba,
Mhm.
you can make what happened in episode 6 and 7 of Boba how they start season 3 of Mando.
Yes.
You can make that whole setup how you start season 3 of Mando.
Absolutely.
And that should tell you how much they messed it up.
Mm-hmm. So here's the other thing that I thought of. So if we didn't get that after credit scene, I thought of a whole new one. So I do have a new one. So since we did get episodes 5 and 6, to make episode 6 make even more sense, I think that it should show. It's still don't have Grogu come to Tatooine. Like, still have left off with like episode 6 leaving with that cliffhanger of ooh, what's he gonna choose, but don't show that answer at all in this episode at the beginning. The after credit scene shows him choosing, and he chooses Mando, and now we show Luke at the academy. Luke sends Grogu off, and we see Luke now in the background. We can recognize an old ship. We recognize the Millennium Falcon, but it's out of focus. But it's so iconic we'd recognize it. We see two figures walking out of it, and it's Han and Leia. And Luke expresses to Leia his disappointment of what just happened, but then she expresses, "Well, how about I be your first student?"
I could totally do that. I'd be okay with that.
If not that, have Leia, Han, and young Ben, maybe. Like Ben would be like 4, maybe. It
See-
depends on how early after or how recent after Return of the Jedi that he's born.
See, because of how much I love him, this may surprise you, but the only thing I wouldn't put in that is Han.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't have to have Han.
No, you don't have
I just
to.
figured since it's the Millennium Falcon, if they
Yeah.
chose that route.
So I understand the point. I guess my only thing would be is Harrison Ford thought Han should have died
Mm-hmm.
in the
Well, he doesn't even have to
original
say
trilogy.
anything. You could just
No, he doesn't, but-
de-age and show him.
I think if you did that, you'd have to get a body double because he's not gonna.
Oh no!
And-
You would have to have the body double.
I don't know. I think because they killed him off in the sequels.
Yep.
And because Han or Harrison doesn't want to come out, like I'm okay with no more Han. don't get me wrong, I love Han. He's one of my favorites. But I'd be okay if they didn't bring him in, even if it's just CGI and de-aging and using a body double. That's just my own personal preference. Excuse me.
So
So
let's see.
gassy
So
today.
I have one other fix and then one other point to bring up.
Okay.
Um,
And when you're done with that point, I'm gonna.
yep.
I have a theory that I thought of when we
Yeah.
were
So
talking.
I'll get these last two things out of the way so
Yeah.
you can
No worries.
take over. So when Freetown shows up to save the day, basically, I don't think that should have happened until after the introduction of the droids. So the two droid Scorpabalabas show up, and then Freetown then pulls up in front of him and starts shooting at him with that turret. Even if the turret doesn't do anything, have them basically show up to try to save them, but then as a little comedic point of what they can do is have them all have to still get out of the spear before it blows up again, and then they're like, nice of you to show, or like, they could have like a little comedic line here where they're like, well, it's the thought that counts, and then they're like, what did you expect, we're just farmers, like, it could be something a little like that. I just think them coming in to save them from the piked foot soldiers felt a little lame, so I thought maybe them coming in at that point that would fix that a bit more.
Yeah, you know what? That makes a lot more sense. My main issue with having them come in was that it was them and the Maws. And it was just right after each other.
Yes.
I,
So
that flow doesn't make sense. Like, who came in to save the day first? Was it the Pikes or the Maws?
wait,
I
do you
bel
mean
Or the farmers or the Maws? I
I
believe it was the
believe
Maws
the-
first.
and then Freetown came in with
Like
their
2 minutes later.
if not, maybe it was the other way around, but they were pretty close.
But yeah, regardless, you gotta separate that a little bit more.
Hmm.
Whichever one came first. Like, if you're gonna have the Freetown guys come in first, that's fine. You should have had some of them die too when they came in all heroically, if you
Mm.
want to call it that. Like, you have one guy out on the gun and he's just shooting everyone, and the Pikes can't hit you. Like, they didn't miss Mando and Boba,
Yeah, they were landing those shots.
but apparently if it's anyone else, they can't hit,
Yeah.
or they just don't want to hit. Like, some of those farmers should have died when they came in. That I didn't like that. Again, I'm being negative.
Mm-hmm.
Overall,
well, that's fine. It's your opinion.
overall, I was very impressed, and I really loved the episode. But I'm
Mhm.
being very nitpicky because in the end, I'm disappointed with how it turned out with what I was expecting. And part of that's my own fault for expecting something good.
So that brings me to my final point. So it's just my main issues just with the whole series. Now I would probably rate the series as a whole. I'd probably give it a 6.5 out of 10 because
Yeah, I'd say
it was-
not a solid 7, but a 7.
that's why I went with 6.5 because I was like, it's not a 6, it's not a 7. So with that being said, here's just my main issues real quick. The villains were not big enough for the picture and scale that they were trying to go for. You always have to have somebody that is actually bigger than the Pikes. It's already been established that yes, the Pikes are huge, but the last time we see them, they have a boss, and that is Crimson Dawn.
And they don't even touch upon it.
Exactly.
Again,
So it's like
in the after credit scene, I thought they were going to do something with
yes,
the Crimson
yeah,
Dawn,
that's kind of what I was expecting.
which helps me further believe that this is just a one and done
Mm-hmm.
series.
Yep, so there was that, and then the other issue is it's not my issue with Boba. I think they did treat Boba for the most part very well to his character, but here is my main issue is that the reason why I think everybody doesn't like how Boba turned out is that you're taking the mysterious character that we know nothing of. He says two lines and now he's getting a show. Now expectations are being broken because again, it's expectations. It's just what we think he is based off of comics and video games. and it's not actual established fact. It's just what we think is
Well, I
fact.
think they kind of establish it with how awesome he is in Mando when he's
Mm-hmm.
killing the stormtroopers. Like
Yep.
that's what was last seen.
But that's also when he's just first getting his armor, so you could argue that it's just like, oh, it's
Well, yeah, I know, but it helps drive the point that he's this really awesome dude.
yeah.
And
But
you
I
know,
don't think they didn't, or I don't think they showed him not being awesome. I just don't think they showed enough of him being awesome.
Yeah,
A lot
no.
of people think that they neutered him just because they didn't show him being awesome.
No, they didn't neuter him. They just
Mhm.
they had an opportunity to make this a very, very awesome 7 episode series, and
Yep.
they missed.
So yeah, those are
They missed. That's it.
two of my big issues. Is the size of the threat. It's not a big enough threat.
No,
And
the way they introduced it, I have no issues with the size of the threat.
mm-hmm.
How they introduced it bothers me more, or when they did. It felt like it was, oh yeah, we need like a central plot line to really drive this through the whole series. And it felt like they almost came up with one on the fly. Because out of nowhere, they start talking about it like they're
Mhm.
these evil, evil people and how he wants to go to war with them. Don't you think you should set that up in the first episode? Kind of hint at it?
Yeah,
Like, this is what we're going to do?
which is again the whole pacing issue.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then here's the final thing that I had an issue with is this isn't on their part necessarily. So here's the problem with theories is we can get our expectations too high, but here's where this is their fault. We're developing these theories based off of existing actual canon and also some lore that's not canon, which is actually allowing us to believe that there is a bigger picture when there actually wasn't. But if there is, and they are planning for it to show it in another show or another season of this show, they needed to show that now and not wait for a sequel to this.
Yep. So
And those are my three main issues with the show. Overall, loved it. I think it could have been a whole lot better, though.
I do too. I think it could have been leaps and bounds better than what it was. We got little snippets of it that made it a lot better than what it was. I think if you just omit that third episode, for me, I bumped that a whole number up to an 8,
Oh, wow.
out of 10.
Yeah.
But it literally brings it up like a whole letter grade down. But what you were just talking about brings me to my point of source in the main story and how it could have been better. I
Mhm.
think the main thing is Mando.
Yep, they bring
So-
him in, and he steals everything.
Well, yeah, so he steals everything, but the theory that I came up with while we were talking today is that they're going to do the same thing with the Ahsoka show. They're going to have her, so they're not going to bring Mando in at first. They're going to show her looking for Ezra and Thrawn, and Sabine's going to be there, and it's going to be a lot of fun because you can do a lot more because they're not tied to just one planet.
True. Yeah.
They're tied to literally the entire galaxy.
Yeah.
So you can do a lot more.
Mhm.
And that makes me a lot more hopeful. However, I think the route that they're going is that each of these shows is going to be a sideshow that is ultimately telling the whole story of Mando.
Yes, I
Just
fully
with-
agree
with
with you on that.
Different people getting mixed in because it's the story of the Mandalorian. It's the
Yeah.
story of Din Djarin. So I don't want to say it's a fear, but it's something that I'm going to be wary of when watching Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Is that it's going to start out just. I mean, you remember how excited I was
Oh yeah.
when I saw the Ahsoka show. She's one of my favorite characters,
Oh yeah.
and I'm
Mine
still
too.
super pumped. But now that I think about it, maybe they're just instead of doing like a bunch of movies,
Mhm.
maybe they're just doing TV shows to show the story of the Mandalorian.
Yeah. So I actually, when they first was like announcing that they're all going to be connected, since we already got 2 seasons of The Mandalorian and he's like the biggest thing right now, I did pretty much think that they were all going to tell his story, but I didn't think they were going to do it the way that this happened, which I
Exactly.
agree with that little bit of fear of being like, well, you're going to give these other characters their shows. I just thought it was going to connect, not have him incorporated into it to the point where he just steals all the focus.
Exactly.
Which, when it comes to major focal characters like Ahsoka and Boba, you want it to be on them because they are popular enough to hold that.
Precisely.
They are big enough. It's not like Andor.
Don't even get me started on that one.
Did you know Andor's getting 2 seasons? We don't even have the first season.
Why? Why?
No one asked for it. No one asked for Rogue One.
Well, so I know you've come a long way
I
in your
actually like
opinions
Rogue One
with
now.
Rogue One,
Used to hate it.
and it took you a long time to get there. And I remember when we saw Andor, you said you were okay with it,
I'm still okay
and
with it.
I think it's pointless. It's
Oh
useless.
no, I'm with you there, but I'm just because of the actors. So here, it's weird. So it's like since we're getting it, I'm looking at the bright side of I like the actors who are gonna be in it. I still don't really care about it though.
So this is how I thought of Andor when I heard it.
Which soundbite is this? The booze. All right, I figured you were gonna play the booze.
So
you can hear it. I can't.
that's what I thought of when I heard that they were making Andor. And you know what? Maybe they'll do something nice with it. But the way they're going with Mando, and even tying in Boba, even though it wasn't great, I still enjoyed it. And you know they're gonna do the same with Ahsoka because she's been in Boba and Mando.
Yep.
I like the direction that they're taking it
Yes.
overall.
Yeah. No.
Even
I
though
love it.
they kind of took a step back with Boba, it wasn't a major step back. Like they fell a couple steps.
It would have been better if it was only episode 5 being focused on Mando and then episode 6 never happened, like we briefly discussed.
I like how they introduced the Starfighter.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that could have been done in a flashback.
Yep.
I feel like Mando could have come flying in, and they could have said, "How'd you do it?" And that's how they show it. Like,
It might not have held. I believe the point of it was to have nostalgic emotional weight.
yeah, I
I
understand
think
that,
that's the point of it. So it
but
might not have
again,
held that weight if they just showed it.
but don't
but-
do it in the Book of Boba.
Yeah.
It's not Boba.
See, again, I think it's fine that they showed it if we only got that episode 5 being entirely about Mando and then episode 6 never happened. After seeing the whole show, I strongly believe episode 6 never should have happened in the Book of Boba.
Yep. Yeah. So that was those are my major points and thoughts. I really have nothing else left to.
Yeah, I
that I
believe
can
we
think of.
actually touched on everything. So this was nice. We actually got.
Yeah, I know.
I
We're
mean,
2
it's
for 2.
the finale, so this is kind of what I expected. Main focus being primarily on this episode, so we've got a lot to talk about on Kenobi, Moon Knight, all those upcoming projects, and we'll talk about the return of Futurama next episode.
Ooh, and I believe you also promised me some Super Bowl time. So.
Oh yes, you definitely get to have your whole, however long that'll be, half an hour, 2 minutes.
It's 2 teams that I really don't care about, but it's sports and it's me. So.
Yep, and there's going to be plenty of people interested in that.
Oh yeah, it's the Super Bowl.
All right,
Whether you watch for the
everybody.
commercials or not.
Hope you enjoyed listening to our rant and appreciation of the Book of Boba Fett. Take us out, Zach.